Great. All right, everyone. So again, welcome to this webinar. My name's Tyler Hainsworth with XOLogic, and thanks for taking the time to attend this webinar here today. So excited to be talking to you all. So today we're going to be discussing a little bit about creating markups for your different products and how to kind of get the best margin and kind of sneak in a little bit extra profits and margins for some of the different products. So we'll set that up through markups. We'll also discuss in this webinar how you can give your different business accounts, your contractors, your designers, give them different types of markups as well, so that when they log in and they're creating wish lists, or if you want to create wish lists underneath your business accounts, you can assign them their set amount of pricing, and so when they log in, they will see that set price. So we'll talk about that, and then also we'll talk about our special section where you can apply some discounts, some redline pricing, some promo codes. So that's kind of what we'll be talking today, and then we'll open it up to any questions. So during this webinar, you can chat your question if you have, and then I'll kind of repeat it to everybody, and we'll take some time to answer those questions. So to get started, we're logged in here onto my demo account here. So we're logged into the dashboard, okay? And so the first part that we're gonna talk about is creating the markups, okay? So I'm gonna go over here to admin, and then I'm gonna go to catalog and pricing and markups, okay? So right here we've got our pricing tiers, okay? So we have our pricing tiers, and typically if you haven't done anything in the markups, you'll most likely have two kind of set tiers that we've created for you. Your default tier and then your web tier, okay? And you can add as many tiers as you'd like right here, okay? So we can, our default tier is your tier or your markups that you will see when you are logged in like we are right now. So kind of your in-store markups, okay? The other one is for your web tier, okay? The markups for how your customers are going to see your markups, your pricing on your website. And then we'll come back to this one a little bit later on, okay? Now, your pricing tiers or markups go off of your cost. Okay, so one thing that I always check here is in our vendor settings. So I'll come over here to the vendors and wait for this to load. Bring this up here. Once it's done loading, I've got quite a few vendors loaded on here. So, all right. So one thing that I always want to make sure that I have is my base cost multiplier set to a 1.0. Okay, that means that all my cost for all of my golden items will come across as the cost that it should be. But if my price is wrong or whatnot, this is a great way to troubleshoot where that is. So if it's set to a 2.0 or something like that, then it'll be your cost times whatever this is. Okay, so you want to make sure that that this is correct. If you did change it, just make sure that that is correct and you have it set to where you want to be at. Okay, so we'll jump over here back to our markup section. Okay. And let's say that we want to edit our default tier. Okay, this is our in-store pricing policy. So go ahead and click on Edit. Okay, and then we can give it a name if we want. So if you don't like the name default tier and you want to say in-store pricing, you can change it to whatever you want. And then this is always set up to your as a 2.0 markup. So the default is always set to 2.0, but you can change that by clicking on Custom Markup, And let's say that I want my in-store, I want it to be a little bit higher than 2.0. I'll do a 2.3. Okay. Always hit save. And that's going to save it at a 2.3 markup. So anything when I'm viewing my products in store logged in is going to have a 2.3 markup. Okay. So now I've got these two sections right here. I've got markups and I've got specials. Okay. So this is where you can really get creative on assigning your different markups to your product. So you can click on Add New Markup Row. And then you'll get this this button right here, and you can click on Edit. Okay, this is going to bring up a pop-up here, and it will pull up all of your different brands or all of your different vendors that you have access to. Okay, so you could, if we wanted to, we could, we could give Corbett its own specific markup if we wanted to. Okay, or Curry, or any of these brands, you can select one, and then you can give it that specific markup. So if you select your vendor, click on OK, and then you can get your you can set your markup. So you can do your custom markup, and for ET2, so my default right now is at a 2.3, but let's say ET2, I want that to be a 1.9. in my store. Okay, I'll save that. And now everything in store is at a 1.9 markup for ET2. Okay, so let's click on Edit right here. And if I wanted to add, a couple of vendors to that 1.9 markup, all you have to do is just on your keyboard select the Control button, and then it will let you apply, add as many as you want. Okay. So here's kind of a hint that some showrooms have done is, as you can see, we've got our section here for our brands. Okay, and then for our markups, we can apply it to any attributes. Okay, attributes is a great feature within XO where you can group items. So let's say that we have all of my on-sale items. If I've grouped those on-sale items into an attribute, I can apply that markup to only those items. Okay, so that's a great tool to set that up. So you have any of your attributes that you can set it to, and then we've got your different categories. Let me scroll down to our lighting categories here. Okay, here we go. So we've got our lighting fixture, then we've got our categories: bathroom fixtures, bathroom fans, chandeliers, and then your subcategories of chandeliers. Okay, so some showrooms, what they've done is they sell some fans, but then what they do is they mark up all of their different fan accessories. So their ceiling adapters, their blades, remotes. Okay, so maybe their fans they'll keep at a lower price to get them to buy the fan, but then they need to buy all the accessories. And so then you can mark up those different accessories if you wanted to. Okay, so let's say I wanted to mark up my ceiling adapters, fan blades, and fan remotes. I'll hit OK right here. So that's my category, and I want to mark those up to a 2.8. I'll click on Save. Now, all those items have a markup. All those different subcategories of those fan accessories have a 2.8 markup. Okay, and you can add as many markup rows as you'd like. Okay, so I can click on Add New Markup Row, and it'll give me another row. Okay, so I've got my other row here, and then I can do the exact same thing. Click on Edit. It'll bring up this page, and then I can choose whichever section I want to. Okay. And then again, give it to the custom markup. Now, I wouldn't suggest that you have, more than 8 or 10 markup rows. Okay, what that'll do is the more markups you have, the longer it takes for our system to kind of go through and calculate all of those different markups and calculations that you have set in place. Okay, so try and group them as best as you can into your markup area. So anything that's a 2.8, throw it into this group over here. Okay, so that's kind of our markups. So you can do, there's a lot of opportunities that you can do here to mark up different brands, different attributes, your on sale, your clearance items. You can mark those up. Also, you have the ability, just like we talked about, those different categories and subcategories. You can set all different kinds of markups for different product types and categories in here. So you have a lot of flexibility here as well. Okay, so our next section that we have is our specials. Okay, so we've got our specials here where I've already pre-selected one. Let's just add a new specials row here, just so you can see what that looks like. Okay, so same kind of thing, right? You've got your blue edit. You click on that, you get your same box. And on this, you can do your different types of specials. So right now, I've assigned this brand Danolite a 15% discount. Okay, so I've chose my brand. I provided a discount, and then you have a type. You can do it by dollars or by a percentage. So I chose percent. So everything that is assigned to Danolite has a 15% discount. From there, what I did, I have some options here. I've got RL, HL, and PC. Okay, RL stands for red line. Okay, and I'll show you how this displays on the website. So what the RL will do, it will put a red slash or a red line through the list price, and then it will say save 15%, and then it will give you what the savings cost is. Okay, that's a nice feature that a lot of websites are doing these days, is they want to show their customers that they're saving something, right? As a consumer, you always want to look for the best deal. And so if you can display on your website, you know, a red line through that list price, and then they're saving 15%, that's going to grab your consumer's attention. Okay, so you've got this. HL, that's not too oftenly used. That will highlight the box when you're looking on your website and you have your category page. It will highlight the box of that item. Okay, and then we have PC, which stands for promo code. Okay, so promo codes are great. Now, with a promo code, you can see you can only do one or the other. If you're going to do a promo code, you can't have a red line or a highlighted box through it. Okay, if you're going to do a red line, you can't have a promo code. So it's one or the other. Okay, so if I want to do a promo code, okay, on all of my Danolite items, okay, so for all Danolite, I'm going to give a 15% discount, and then at the checkout. So when they're at the checkout to purchase that item online, it will ask them to put in their promo code. Okay. Now this is case sensitive. Okay. So if you have caps locks for save 15, okay, that's your promo code, and it's all in capital letters, then when the customer then the customer can go in and they need to assign a or type in the promo code in capital letters. Okay, so just make sure that in the back end here, when you're setting up your promo code, make sure that if you want it in capital letters, make sure that your customer knows that they have to type it in capital letters. Okay, or if it's in lowercase, then when they're at the checkout. When they're at the checkout to purchase that order and they're going to apply the promo code, make sure that they type in save 15. So once they do that at the checkout and they type in that promo code and hit submit, then it will deduct 15% from that Danolite item. Okay, from any Danolite item. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this here, hit save. And I want to take a moment. There was a question that popped in. Let's take a moment here to ask that. So the question is here, how often should you be updating your markups and specials? Great question. I think as you, the business owner, you would probably have a better idea than I would. But I think, maybe that's a really good question. I would say probably every, maybe I would say once a quarter might be too frequent. So maybe 2 to 3 times. Just kind of depends on what you're focusing on. So yeah, good question. I don't know if I would be the right person to give you an answer on how often you should update your markups. But you do have that ability to change them at any time you wanted to. So, all right. So we've got our specials now. One other thing that you can do as well. So we've got all of our Dano lights right here. Okay, and then we can click on Edit. And let's say that you wanted everything on your entire store to show, a 30% discount red line. Okay, if you just click on Edit, then every single item on your website will show a 30% discount with the red line struck through it. Okay, so just by selecting this. Just by adding a specials row and doing just edit and not assigning anything, it will assign everything. Okay, so I want to get rid of that here. Hit save. Okay, I want to get rid of this one as well. Hit save. And this is another good reminder. Always hit save on here whenever you're making any changes. Okay. So let's take a look at Dano Light, okay, on our website with how this discount displays on the website. Okay, we've got a 15% discount and a red line. Now, one thing that you want to make sure of is your vendor settings. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my vendor settings, and I'm going to go and find Dano Light. Just take a little bit for it to load all those vendors here. There's Dano Light. Click on that. Okay. So right here we have our vendor required policies. Okay. Some vendors will give you the opportunity, maybe for a month or two, to allow you to go below IMAP. They'll say, hey, you can go 15% below IMAP during this period of time for this line. Okay, so what you'll want to do we've got our website and our in-store. Okay, so for our website, Dano Light, they've got IMAP. Okay, so if they're going to allow me to go below the IMAP price, and that's why I put my discount in there, I need to set this to none. Okay. Because if I have this set to IMAP as actual, then on my website it's only going to display the IMAP price. Even though I have, that discount 15% off of all my Dano Light items, if I have my setting here, IMAP as actual, it's not going to take that into account. Okay, so and then IMAP is minimum. So with your IMAP as minimum, it will allow your markups to take effect, but it won't let you go below IMAP. So if you wanted to, on your markups or on your specials, if you wanted to go a little bit higher than IMAP, then this would allow your markups to take effect. Okay, but it would not allow those items to go below IMAP. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between those two. IMAP as actual, it's going to disregard any specials or markups that you have and only display the IMAP price. If you've got IMAP as minimum, it will set the IMAP, it will show the IMAP price, but if you had a markup and if you wanted to sell it for a little bit more on your website, then select this one because it will take your markups here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it to none, okay, because I want my markup to show on the website. Okay. So I'm going to hit save here. And now I'm going to log out. Okay, so I'm on my website here. It's nothing fancy. I'm going to go to brands. And then I'm going to search for Danolite. I want to look at Danolite items. Okay. So, got my Danolite items right here. As you can see, so I have my vendor settings for Danolite all set to none because I want it to show my discount that I've got. So I've got my 15%. So you can see the red line is through the original price. Okay, that's most likely the IMAP price. Okay, so save 15%, and then I get my what my saving or what my actual cost is here. Okay. If I click on this item and go to our item detail page, okay, here's my price. Okay, so again, my list price has a red line through it. Save 15%, and then here's my price right there. Okay, so it's showing that to the customer. Okay, so again, as a consumer, if they're looking at Danolite, hey, awesome! I'm going to be able to save 15% on some of these items here. Okay, on this whole line. Okay, and that's how you can kind of display that. Okay, and that visually, really appeals to a lot of consumers. Okay, and if you wanted to change how this looks, rearrange it or whatnot, we have the ability to do that. Just contact client services, and we can help you if you wanted to change how that looks, make the text a different color, a different size, a font. We have a lot of different options that we can help you with that. This is just kind of the default there. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Okay, now I'm going to sign back in here as an admin. Okay. Now, since we're talking about, we're discussing our specials, our savings, our markups, right? If I want to show those first, I've done some work on the back end, and I want those really to display on my website prominently. Okay. Then what we have here is we have what's called our featured sort. Okay. So this is how my website is going to display my products by. Okay, so first it's going to set it by my vendor rankings. Okay, and you can set your vendor ranks back in the vendor settings. But from here, I have a lot of options to display my products by. Okay, so I've got my attributes. Okay, so if I've assigned an attribute for on sale, and I've got my specials, my red line on there, and I want all those items to show up first on the website. If I click on that, then those are going to appear. Okay, or I can do it by margin. Okay, so I've set my margins on my markups, and I want to show all those items that have the best margin on the website first. If I select that, then when I go to my website, the items that have the best margin are going to populate right there. So you have a lot of different options here in your featured sort settings. Okay. So we've talked about markups and specials, how to kind of organize that, what that looks like. Now, I'll hit OK here. Now, if I want to give my business account, my contractors, my designers, if I want to give them their own special pricing, okay, well, what I'll do first is I'll come over here to my markups section. Okay, and what I've done is I've added this new tier, Builder ABC. If I click on Add New Tier, okay, then I can give it a name. Okay, I'll hit Return, and I've got Builder ABC. Okay, if I click on Edit, okay, you can give it a name. Choose Custom Markup, and then whatever your markup is. Okay, now so when that business account logs in, everything that they see when they log in is going to be at a 1.2 markup. Okay. Now you can do the same thing that we just talked about here. We can say add new markup row and say, all right, Mr. Builder, I'm going to give you, my default, everything is a 1.2, but on, let's say on Cal Lighting, on this brand, I want to give you a 1.5. So when that business account logs in, everything's going to be set to a 1.2 markup, except for Cal Lighting. They're going to see everything is set to a 1.5. Okay? So you can do the exact same thing there, or do a special so they can see kind of the discount that they're receiving. Okay? So that's how that is set up there. Give them a default discount, choose whatever markups you want, or specials like we've discussed. So now I'm going to click on Return. Okay, so I've got my different tiers. So now that I've got that tier set up, now I'm going to create that business account. So I'll come over here to Add Account and type in your business name. Okay. Now the key area that I want to focus on is right here, Account Settings. Okay. What type of account is this? Is this a contractor, designer, electrician? Okay, these are different options that you have. We'll say it's a contractor. Okay. Now the important part right here is my tier markup. So if I click this drop down, you'll see I've got my 3 options that I have created in the markup settings. Okay, that's where this appears. If I choose default tier, my default tier was a 2.0. So if I assign this default tier 2.0 to this business account, they're going to see 2.0. Okay, if I set it to Builder ABC, this was at a 1.2. This is the markup that they're going to see. And then you can click on Save Account Information. Well, you can give them their login, username and password. And once you save it, give this business account their login credentials, and when they log in, those are the markups and the different specials that they're going to see. Okay. So that will kind of those are the main points that I wanted to discuss in this webinar today. Again, we discussed how to create markups and specials, how to put a discount on there, how to sort it if you wanted to, and then giving your contractors their special pricing. Okay. So I will open it up if there are any questions that anybody may have. You can write it in here. If not, this webinar has been recorded, and so if at any time you want to go back and review this, you can always go to Help, click on Get Training, and then we will add the webinar video right here. So a couple weeks ago, we did a webinar for vendors and whatnot, so we will include this webinar in this section here. Okay. All right, so a question came in here that says, how do you update markups for a small list of products within a vendor? Awesome question. Yep, so with this one, again, do a markup for a small list of products within a vendor. Okay, what you'll want to do, so let's take a look at, let's answer this first one here to do a markup for a small list of products. Okay, what you'll want to do here is you will go and you'll group those items into an attribute like we had discussed. So if I come over here and I go to Catalog and Pricing, and then I go to Attributes, okay, what I'll do is I'll have to create an attribute first. Okay, just give it a name. It doesn't matter. Okay, and then what you'll do is you'll bring up an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, identify those items, and here are some of the required column headers that you'll need. Okay, so you'll need the vendor. So these are your column headers on your Excel spreadsheet. You'll need the name of the vendor or the vendor ID. We can provide that to you. The attribute name that you gave it and the item number. Okay, so you just need those three fields right here: vendor, attribute, and item number. If you have a quantity, you can add that in as well, but typically it's just these three sections here. So you've set that up on an Excel spreadsheet, and then what you can do is you can import that. Now what you've done, let's cancel out of here. So we've created our in-stock or whatever that attribute name is from those small groups of items. And then once you go back, let's jump back over here to markups. We'll go over here to default tier and edit. Okay, let's just say add new markup row. I'll click on edit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the attribute section. And it's right here. Okay. So here's my attribute section. If you created a new name, a new attribute, then it would populate right here in this section, and you would click on that attribute that has those items that you've identified into that group, and then give it a markup that you want. And so anytime that somebody's looking for those items, they will have that set markup. So great question. Let's see. So there's another question that came in. When you add a discount and you have IMAP as actual, what is going to display? IMAP minus discount? Good question. So if you add a discount and you have IMAP as actual, so the only thing that will display on the website if you have your vendor settings set to IMAP as actual is the IMAP price. It won't display IMAP minus the discount. The IMAP there is there in place to kind of obviously to protect you online. So if you have it set to IMAP as actual, it will disregard any discount that you've given, and it will just display the IMAP price. So if you want to show that discount in the vendor settings on the website, just make sure that you've selected none, and then that discount will apply on the site. Just like we had our Dano Light right here. We've got our 15%. I'll show you real fast back on the vendor page here. Let's search for Dano Light. Wait for this to load. There we go. Just come back here real fast. So I've got my website is set to none. That is what this setting right here is what is allowing that discount of 15% to display on the website. If I change it back to IMAP as actual, it will disregard that discount and just display the IMAP price. So good question. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for your attendance and for your participation. If you do have questions regarding what we discussed today, please don't hesitate to reach out to our client services team here. Again, the phone number that you can reach us at is 866-684-4134. And then our email address is clientservices@XOLogic.com. So I appreciate your time, appreciate your comments. Again, this is recorded so you can watch it at another time. And hope you've enjoyed the webinar, and hope you have a great day.